Well, we are now less than 1 week away from the NFL draft kicking off in Kansas City, and the Packers are bound to be a team that's making some moves on Thursday night. So today, I wanted to take a look at the question here on will the Packers be trading up or down in the first round of the 2023 draft. And the Packers have made a move in the first round of the draft under Brian Gutekunst every single year besides 2021 when they selected Eric Stokes at pick 27. Now, granted, in 2022, it was just a player for pick accusation with Devontae Adams, but every single other year, they have traded within the first round. Before we look at any positions that might be going off the board, looking at the Packers' needs, first, just looking at this team and what they need overall. And they just need young players. They need more assets. They are not at a point where they are just one player away. They're not a top 10 pick away from being Super Bowl contenders. They just need more good players. And I think, pretty simply, it's not a bad idea to trade down. You are possibly losing value. Maybe you're selecting a future Hall of Famer at pick 15, but, it's not a bad idea to get a late 20 pick and then maybe an early second round thrown in there too. Just more assets for you to use. This team, that is what they need right now. They have way too many positions where they have little to no depth. I mean, you look at the tight end position, and the only one they have on their roster right now is Josiah DeGuara and Tyler Davis. Safety as well, you only have Darnell Savage and Rudy Ford. And by the way, if you haven't checked out our episode we did with Rudy Ford last week, make sure you check that out. Just a lot of positions like that. Offensive tackle, edge, wide receiver can even be thrown in there. A lot of positions where they just need more players. And now looking at those positions specifically and where they line up with this year's draft. So let's start off with offensive tackle because I think this is one that will most likely depend on what the other teams in front of them end up doing. The offensive tackles, it's a strong class, or it's at least a top-heavy one. The problem with that, though, is that there's a lot of teams ahead of the Packers at pick 15 that are probably going to be eyeing up some of those offensive tackles. The Jets at 13, the Falcons, the Bears, the Texans, the Titans, all are probably going to be looking for offensive tackles. All are just a few picks ahead of the Packers. So they're probably not going to be able to get a Paris Johnson or a Peter Skronsky, a few of the top guys in this class. Even the Steelers at 17 are allegedly looking to jump up, probably eyeing the Packers as their number one hunter, if you will, somebody that might snatch up one of their top prospects, just 2 picks ahead of them. So in that case, if the Packers are looking at Peter Skronsky, they like his versatility and really want him, maybe they make that push for them. I don't see that being the case. I think they stay put and see what falls to them. And this is just a situation that emphasizes how fun the draft is to watch in real time because every single move affects the team after that move. And it's just such a big domino effect. Really fun to watch. And, maybe only 1 or 2 of those top offensive tackle prospects get taken ahead of the Packers, and they're able to get their hands on a Broderick Jones or even a Paris Johnson because I've seen him mock all over the board. So I would highly doubt that they trade up for an offensive tackle, even though it's one of their top needs. Just don't see them giving up that many assets. Can stay put at 15 if that's their move. And hey, even if those guys go off the board, maybe they're set on all of those guys and don't have anybody else on their board at that point, move back a little bit. No harm, no foul in that. But class that is opposite of that, position being tight end, is a strong class that has players that can go all throughout the first round. You have Dalton Kincaid, who is right in the Packers' range, perfect fit for them. Darnell Washington from Georgia, too. They could be available, and most likely, in my opinion, will be available at pick 15. So they could have those guys, or they could trade down, maybe get a Michael Mayer in the later half of the first round. A lot of options for the Packers at tight end that they could go with either move, really. And honestly, I could see them, moving back, taking a chance that Darnell Washington is still there in the early 20s, trading back there, getting an extra second round pick in that trade, and boom, you get yourself your dream player, and you also get yourself another pick. The Packers are just one of the most interesting teams to watch with this because they are so specific to the type of guys that they like at their positions. So anything could happen, really. And another position that is like that is a wide receiver position, which is just interesting, unpredictable position group this year. You know, the top guy in that is JSN from Ohio State. And then there's this group of guys, kind of like there was in last year's draft, that was just ahead of the Packers between pick 15 and 20 with Chris Olave, Treylon Burks, a few other guys thrown in that mix there. And I think that will happen again this year with Zay Flowers, Jordan Addison, and Quentin Johnson as well. Just going in that mid to late first round. And once again, I could see them really liking Quentin Johnson. And I talked about him in my Packers draft types video that I did a few weeks ago. Perfectly fits the type of player they're looking for. Tall, physical pass catcher. Could see them trade back a little bit. And, you know, their board just decides all of this because you don't trade down or trade up just with one guy in mind. And sometimes that's the case if this team is on the board and you're finalizing out the details then. But especially if you're trading back, you're taking a little bit of a risk there that your guy's not going to be there once you're on the clock again. So with their board, if they really like Quentin Johnston, if they really like Michael Mayer, if they really like Broderick Jones from Georgia at offensive tackle, then they might be fully content with trading back and getting some more picks. So we'll have to see what they will do. And the Rodgers trade that will probably go down on draft night will obviously play a big factor in all of this. If they do end up getting that 13 overall pick, they're probably going to be even more willing to trade down from 15 at least. Don't see them jumping up and getting a premium pick because with pick 13 and 15, you're looking at some pretty pennies there if they were to combine those two picks together for a trade. But either way, that Rodgers trade will have a big impact on the players who are looking at drafting and what moves they look to make in there. Other than that, though, that's all I got for you today. Let me know your thoughts on whether the Packers will trade up or down or stay put on Thursday night. Other than that, I'll talk to you later. I appreciate you watching this video. Make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel, and we'll talk to you later. As always, go Pack Go.